All right, gonna critique what I make. I'm going to critique this one right away just because I did make it for somebody. It's the first project I've actually made for somebody else, but I'm going to critique it. It's his holster. It's a nice holster. I do have a weapon out, so I'll show that it is safety checked. There's nothing in the barrel. The magazine is completely empty, so that's going that way. I guess looking at it, I used two different threads. I borrowed some thread from a buddy of mine because I bought this other thread from Michaels, and it was just way too thick. I didn't like the way it was or anything like that. So there's two different threads on here so I can see what it's like. One is a really fine detail thread. It's obviously for more wallet size, so I definitely need to not use that when it comes to holsters or anything like that. Where the other thread, my buddy had given me some. I'm definitely going to have to go find something that size and stuff like that. That is definitely made for this kind of thing. The other thing is the stain on this worked pretty good. You can see though, I don't know if you can see it there. No, you can't really see it there. I do on my holster, I can show it. I definitely have to get better at staining the leather. That's just a rub. Here, we can get that off there real quick. But if you look right at the seam, right here, my glue seam, because you pull the leather and you stretch it, where I laid the glue down to sew the reinforcement onto the leather, that's showing. So obviously the glue doesn't stain, so that gave me that. So probably in the future, when I draw my glue line, come back maybe like a 1/16 of an inch, and just glue up to that point and leave that 1/16 of an inch unglued. This whole piece is glued on there, so it's on there solid, plus it's stitched. So, I mean, this is not going to come apart. It is a rigid formed holster. Both of these are. One of the things I've realized, though, is I can't, well, there you kind of see it. I don't know. Yeah, there you see it, too. When I was wet forming this, and I think I was pushing too hard during the wet forming process. Maybe go a little bit lighter and just start working it down and getting it pushed down more with like my fingers and something, and then start going to the well, I was actually using a burnishing tool, which is really nice for that kind of thing, but it leaves these marks. I think it's just because I need to be a lot more patient. I wasn't getting impatient because I knew it was going to take a long time, and it took me an hour to form each one. So just this is 2 hours worth of work. So I think more patience when it comes to wet forming. It came out really nice. My burnished edges came out really nice, but the same kind of thing. I don't know if you can see it on this, but on the burnished edge, right in this area, I got to come back from my glue line a little bit and not glue all the way up to my glue line. Otherwise, my edges came out just awesome. They're smooth. They're actually shiny and stuff. So those edges come out really nice. Some people say that the edges are what shows the care that's given to this something that's just full of crock. The way the whole piece looks and is taken care of by the person who makes it, that's what shows good quality. It isn't just the edges. So I do know that my stitching, I need to definitely find better stitching for when it comes to holsters or armor or anything like that. My wet forming, maybe just slow down a little bit. My the dyeing process, though, I don't know if you can see it quite. It kind of looks cool because it kind of gives it an old-fashioned look where it's kind of a little bit lighter in certain areas and darker in other areas. I realize some of that's trauma, but if you can't really see it that well on this. But it's definitely not from trauma. I need to get better at dyeing and staining and doing that. I did leave on both holsters the leather on the inside unstained and stuff like that. It is I did put carnauba oil on the inside, just to give the leather some, much needed TLC. It's skin. All skin dries out. It needs that kind of stuff. But I didn't seal it. I only sealed the outside leather with Resolene. The edges are burnished and waxed burnished. I really like how that looked, though. That is kind of nice. I think when it comes to the edges of the, there we go, of the, like the reinforcement and stuff like that, that's another area I really need to work on. So, stitching, the way my stitches look, on one look really nice and tight. You can't really see them all that well. I mean, you can see the stitch line, but I was trying out different things because it was a round pattern. I'd stitch towards myself, so this was in the stitching pony like this. I stitched towards myself, and then I flipped, and then, well, actually I went this way on my stitching. So it was all going the same direction, and that was not the right way to do it. The best way would have been stitch here, come back, stitch here, do that, then come back, and then stitch this area here. I wasn't watching the camera, but stitch this spot, stitch up here coming towards me, and then stitch all this, and that stitch line looks really beautiful when I do it that way. From now on, that's something I'm going to have to keep in mind. That looked really nice. It does give it a better look, more finished look. The other thing, I've been looking at prices. Obviously I made this one, first one I've ever made, these two holsters here. First ones I've ever made. So obviously there's going to be problems. There's a learning process. But one of the things, because I want to get into this is kind of fun. This is getting to be a hobby. I love doing it to death, especially when I stitch. I noticed that I hit a trance. The other day when I was stitching, I watched 3 movies, or I had 3 movies queued, and as I got done stitching, I looked up, and I was almost to the end of the 3rd movie and didn't even realize the other 2 played. It was different. The entire world just melted away. It was cool doing that. I'm gonna definitely have to go back and watch those movies because I wanted to see them. But I think the other thing I have to start really, you can see where I held it when I was staining it, on the inside. I didn't want to stain the inside though because I didn't want it to transfer to his gun if things get wet. I also wanted it, since it's going to be an outside the waistband carry, even on an inside the waistband, some of this is going to go up against his skin, sweat, things like that. I wanted it for somewhere for the moisture to go and get released. Same with the inside of the holster. I wanted somewhere for the moisture, if he gets caught out in the rain or falls into a lake or something, somewhere for that moisture to go. And I gave it that way. I've seen a lot of people where they, you should stain it because it looks better. They're right, it would look better, but I think in functionality wise, right now, being a beginner, I think I'm going to leave this. Now, prices are anywhere from $70 to $90 I'm seeing for a hand-stitched product. There's others where they do it machine. They can do a whole holster in like an hour. There's no way I could do that by hand. An hour is just wet forming for me. $70 to $90 though. Is this a product that is worth $70 to $90? I would say being the first one with the problems and all that, 70's pushing it. It's definitely pushing it. Definitely not $90. I would not feel comfortable charging someone $90 for this kind of a holster. So I definitely need to step up my game, but I'm recognizing spots where I need to work at and other things to look at. The other thing about this holster is, like I've said about the guy, is he got great design, and I borrowed his patterns, but if you see in there, right there, I mean, it's not going to be a big deal. I still feel safe carrying it because it's the back side. If something did get pushed into there, it would, there we go. It would definitely hit the back of the trigger and push the trigger forward instead of bringing it back. So I could be safe carrying this. It's a very snug fit. This is obviously a Glock 19 Gen 3, so my magazine release is over here. It is clear, so I don't have to worry about anything like that either. So I think I'm going to change the design a little bit. It's going to come more up and protect that trigger a little bit more. The other thing I want to do about that design is I want to bring this more towards this area, staying just underneath maybe the magazine release. That's something I also got to keep in mind. I think the reason why when I first made it and I was first getting the fit into the gun, it came up so high is because the leather shrank a little bit in the wet molding process. So that's obviously, but this is his pattern. He was great and put it online for everybody, but I think I definitely got to change this pattern a little bit. I have 2 more projects coming up that I'm going to start working on. I got to save up a little bit of money to get the stuff. I got the leather, but there's a couple of other aspects I'm going to do. Those, though, are still in the planning process, so I'm definitely going to make a video of the planning of that. That one is going to also be for a person I know. So it's going to be 2 sword sheaths. One for me, because I need one for my longsword. And for them, they had asked me a while back if I was ever into making sheaths, if I could make them a sheath. And, well, you know what? You asked, and I'm getting to that point where I want to make a sheath. So I'm going to design that and all that. But here's the critique. The stitching, I got to find a stitching like what my friend had gave me, the thread size. I wax my threads. I like waxed thread better. He gave me unwaxed, so I waxed it. The other stuff I had is definitely going to be wallet detail or like checkbooks kind of stuff and all that. I got to watch my glue lines and bring back from the glue line a little bit, not glue right up to that glue line, because it does I mean, there you go. You can definitely see where the glue, where the leather pulled back a little bit in that area, and I exposed my glue line. It didn't stain. Same with there. You can see it right right here area. So I definitely need that. Wet forming, I need to slow down a little bit. Staining, I think I know what my problem is, why the stain gets really weird. Like I said, it will change on a piece of leather because of trauma, marks like that and stuff like that. But that's not the problem here. That's not the case. I need to get better at staining. I think maybe in between coats, give a coat, wait for a while, give it another coat, then wait for a while, and give it another coat. Here, I did 2 layers within about 2 hours, and maybe I need to give it more time or something. I definitely got to look into why that stained so funky. It does kind of look cool, but I want it more evenly. That would be kind of cool. I do have an airbrush. I haven't used it in a while, though, so maybe airbrushing stain, but I don't think so. I want to do everything by hand. I want hand craftsmanship. Yeah, there's blemishes with hand craftsmanship. You can make the same product over and over and over with a machine, but I think that hand craftsmanship is what I'm definitely going to go for. I really like it, though. It's a nice holster. It's going to function the way... Oops. Sorry, guys. Kind of knocked you over there. It's going to function good, I think. It's a nice tight fit. It's going to stay on the belt good. Like I said, though, I'm definitely going to modify it and make it my own. There's changes I would like to make. My buddy's holster, I'm definitely going to keep in contact with him, get his inputs on the way he thinks and feels about things, because that's going to be the big thing there. You know, if I make something for somebody, I don't want them to be disappointed if they spend money on this. Obviously, I did this for free because I'm learning. Same with the sheath I'm coming out. That sheath is going to if I sell them, it's going to be expensive. Like this is $70 to $90 kind of item, but right now I can't charge any money because I'm learning. They didn't request anything. I'm just making it for them. Same with the sheath. But I got some places I got work on, but I think it came out all right. All right, doing a little video, doing a product review here. I made that holster, which was really cool. I've used it, so I'm going to do an actual review of using the holster. I carry it outside in the public. I do have my permit to carry and stuff like that. So I was carrying this. It's the holster I made. I liked it a lot. It's different than my inside the waistband holster, because my inside the waistband I did get a crossbreed. So a cross inside the waistband, for people who don't know, just think of the blue field here, or the blue and black field, as what your pants would be. And then so all of that would ride below your pants, and then above, underneath your shirt, you know, so your shirt would come down here, is where everything would be at. So show that it's safety checked and everything like that. There's nothing in this. We are doing good and clear on that. So so basically when you wear it, your pants would come around here, and then everything above your pants would be here, and that would be exposed. But when you carry your shirt over it, it hides the gun and all that. It's really good holster. Like I had mentioned in one of my other videos, the guy who designed this and made this particular one, he has passed away. It was a sad day that day for a lot of people, because he made a great holster. As you can see with the wear marks, I've worn this one a lot. Like I said though, it is a good holster and stuff like that. But then when you get an outside the waistband holster, what happens is your belt goes behind the gun and tucks in, so the whole thing is exposed. So when it's on your pants, I mean, that's exactly what you see. I wear a baggier shirt than most people. One, just because I don't like plumber's crack. I think that's kind of disrespectful to be walking around plumber's crack and everybody, you know. So I wear a baggier shirt than normal. So I wear a shirt size bigger than most people my size, but I like it. It's bulky, but it also hides things like this, conceal and carry like this and like this, and it wore great. It rode great. I like the position of it. It positions a little bit different than an inside the waistband carry. One of the things though I had said is I'm going to probably change some of the things he has in this, because I used somebody's design. I am going to make it so that here you can see there's a little gap behind there. I don't want anything to be able to get in there and touch that trigger. Granted, from back here going into there, it would be pushing the trigger forward, but I still want to protect that trigger. You know, that's opinion though, because since I said anything that would get in there would get in behind the trigger and push that trigger forward. There's no way for that trigger to get pulled backwards and for a round to be let loose. So you've got that, and it was a really nice carry. Different things like that. Here, let me just take this apart real quick. My fingers aren't working like they used to, so here's the slide of the gun. The gun's been taken apart completely, and the slide is hidden by that. Now that just hides the slide part, which is okay, but what I would like to do is when I redesign this and make that pattern into my own kind of thing, I'm definitely going to incorporate it more out past that slide, to the point where out past the slide, here's the magazine release here. So I don't want it to hit there, but I want it to come more and protect the user. Because, you know, as you sit, this bends and twists and pushes into your side. Well, this bends and twists and pushes into your side, and as you move, It holds really tight though. I do know I'm gonna, for the holes here, for the belt loops, I'm gonna get a punch. I did that by hand. All this is by hand. The punch would be a lot better for a lot of different reasons. So I'll do that. But product review, it was great. There's going to be a couple of changes when I actually make it, but I'm going to design that pattern by my own. So yeah, this is definitely something I will definitely keep up with. That was a fun build. All right, thanks guys for watching. Like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. That would be awesome. Thanks. Bye.